The Honduran presidential candidate Rixi Moncada has demanded that the United States cease its attempts at interference and respect the country's sovereignty. The government of Peru extended the state of emergency in Lima and the port province of Callao for 30 days under the pretext of a supposed fight against organized crime and common criminality. And Palestinian human rights organizations denounce physical and psychological abuse against minors detained in Israeli prisons. Hello and welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos, and from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba, we begin with the news. We begin with the information. Honduran presidential candidate Rixi Moncada demands that the United States respect the country's sovereignty and cease its attempts at interference. The Libre Party candidate urged the far-right Congresswoman Maria Elvira Salazar to respect the electoral process in the Central American country. Rixi Moncada also reiterated that the Honduran people will not tolerate interference, pointing out that Honduras is independent and sovereign. The presidential candidate's demands come after Salazar's hearing entitled "Democracy Endanger: The Fight for Free Elections in Honduras," which was attended by several Honduran opposition politicians, including presidential candidate Salvador Nasralla. In the United States, Democrats reacted in outrage after the U.S. President Donald Trump accused them of seditious behavior and claimed that they should be arrested for posting a video telling an active service members to refuse illegal orders. For context, the Democrats had released on Tuesday a video directed at military members in which 6 lawmakers reminded the officers of their vows to protect and defend the Constitution and the fact that they could refuse illegal orders in regards to recent presidential mandates, including the extrajudicial executions in the Caribbean. The U.S. president then accused the legislators of seditious behavior and threatened them with a death sentence through social media. Democratic authorities rejected this response and called on House Republicans to do the same. Also in the United States, a federal court ruled against President Donald Trump's decision to deploy the National Guard in Washington, D.C. under the pretext of fighting crime. District Judge Gia Cobb ruled that the intervention ordered by the White House is unconstitutional and exceeds the president's powers. According to the ruling, the president cannot mobilize these forces unless there is a specific legal basis in the current regulations to support it. Last August, Trump ordered the deployment of over 300 National Guard soldiers, which led to tension between the federal government and the local administration. We go now to Peru as the government extended the state of emergency in Lima and the port province of Callao for 30 days under the pretext of a supposed fight against organized crime and common criminality. The regulation that grants the national police and the armed forces internal security powers suspends international guarantees such as the inviolability of the home, freedom of assembly, and personal freedom and security. It also requires a permit for public and mass activities, whether sports, cultural, or religious. The decree stated that during the extension of the state of emergency, complementary measures will be maintained, including satellite control of the territory and restrictions in prisons, among other specific measures. We stay in Peru as miners took to the streets of the capital to request an extension of the time to formalize their work before being declared illegal. The Peruvian Congress debates the crucial proposal to extend until the end of 2027 the temporary permit that would allow the reintegration of 50,000 miners declared illegal since 2016. Although the Energy and Mines Commission issued a preliminary extension last Tuesday, it still requires final approval by the plenary. On this subject, the government of interim President José Geri has not issued an official statement on whether it will support or veto the extension. And Venezuelan youth march in Caracas to celebrate University Student Day. This Friday, a great march for University Student Day is taking place, and we have live images at the moment. And this began near the National Experimental University of the Arts located on Mexico Avenue. We continue to see the people as the gathering will march to the headquarters of the Ministry of Popular Power for Science and Technology. With this mobilization, the new generations of the homeland come together to reaffirm their support for the Bolivarian project and highlight the vindication of young people as the new representatives of the country. Let's recall, we are looking at live images at this moment from Venezuela during this March for Student Day. Also an important march just 2 days away from a new public consultation that will take place this Sunday. Also in Venezuela, the Teresa Carreño Theater in Caracas, the forum New Digital Age, Fake News and Cognitive Warfare is being held with the presence of national and international social communicators. More information on this, the digital event aims to exchange ideas about narratives that distort information solely to serve hegemonic interest. In this context, Venezuelan authorities such as the Director of Sectorial Training in Communication and Culture, Jessica Pernia, warned about the militarization of knowledge, which is part of cognitive warfare, pointing out that it uses the human mind as a domain of military operations. At the same time, international guests explained that several nations around the world are struggling to maintain their identity in the face of the hegemonic pretensions of the West. Now we have a short break coming up, but first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. We continue with more information. In Indonesia, the death toll rose to 30 after recent landslides caused by torrential rains on the island of Java. The National Disaster Management Agency continues to search for dozens of missing persons and to provide assistance to those who have been evacuated to temporary shelters. Indonesian authorities reported that they have deployed 700 military, police, and search and rescue teams following the landslide that buried more than 50 homes in the province of Java. They also warned that more landslides could occur due to the rains from the monsoon season, which have been extended by climate change. Also in Indonesia, residents of the village of Subtarik in East Java returned to their homes after the eruption of the Semeru volcano. Upon returning, the villagers witnessed the devastation caused by the phenomenon. when they found their homes buried under a layer of volcanic material. Despite having been relocated, residents continue to risk their lives in the area due to their businesses, farmland, and livestock, and they described the eruption as a chaotic and dark episode. Meanwhile, local authorities maintain level 4 alert on Mount Semeru, warning of persistent risks in the so-called red zone. Meanwhile, in Bangladesh, at least 3 people died after a 5.7 magnitude earthquake struck the city of Dhaka. The preliminary report revealed the collapse of a railing on a 5-story building that caused the death of 3 people and injuries and property damage in other localities. After the earthquake, the fire department, civil defense, and emergency personnel in Bangladesh responded to reports of damage in the capital city and nearby districts. Country authorities said that the earthquake was also felt in Calcutta and other parts of northeast India. And we go now to Cuba because President Miguel Díaz-Canel Bermudez visited the eastern provinces of the nation for the 4th time to monitor the progress in the recovery efforts following Hurricane Melissa. The Cuban president traveled through the provinces of Santiago de Cuba and Granma to monitor the recovery efforts and supervise the comprehensive care provided to affected families. The head of state emphasized that despite the damage to dozens of homes, there were no losses of life to regret. Díaz-Canel noted that electricity restoration is 96% complete in just 21 days since Hurricane Melissa passed. We now go to other topics. The 2025 World Computing Conference opened in Changsha, central China's Hunan province on Thursday. Under the theme, Calculating the World to Create a New Era, Intelligent Computer Drives Quality Productive Forces, the 2-day conference featured 12 sessions. The event's on-site exhibitions featured a range of innovative products, including integrated intelligent computing clusters, humanoid robots, intelligent connected vehicles, and brain-computer interface devices. More than 10 industry experts from around the world, along with executives from leading enterprises, gathered to discuss advanced computing, artificial intelligence, and quantum technology. And Vietnamese lawmakers advocated on Friday at the 10th regular session of the National Assembly for the creation of mechanisms to completely prevent the importation of obsolete technology into the country. The debate on the issue arose during the analysis of the proposal to amend and supplement several articles of the Technology Transfer Law and the High Technology Bill. Commenting on the first of these, legislator Nguyen Ngheng Tam Hung pointed out that the definition of new technology not yet widely applied in Vietnam risks creating legal loopholes for the import of obsolete technology. In other news, in France, hundreds of people gathered at a protest to denounce the growing number of children living on the streets as the winter is beginning. The protesters cited recent data from local associations which document the presence of around 270 homeless children in the Lyon area alone. Humanitarian support organizations have had to resort to setting up about 20 schools to house a third of these minors, a measure they describe as insufficient to address the magnitude of the crisis. Previously, the Minister of Education, Edouard Jeffrey, acknowledged the seriousness of the situation, emphasizing that the authorities are doing everything possible to address the issue. Meanwhile, in Italy, flu outbreaks are on the rise, with 11% of tests coming back positive so far in 2025. According to the latest report from the Italian National Institute of Health, the highest peak of influenza infection may occur at the end of the year. Therefore, a plan has been activated to slow the spread of the disease through a number of measures. In light of the situation, health authorities have administered over 1,800,000 vaccines in doctors' offices and other immunization centers. They also expressed concern about the spread of infection in children from birth to 4 years of age due to the record of 23 infected minors per 1,000 patients. Now we have a second short break coming up, but before, we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverages, and much more. Follow our page and activate notifications to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. We continue with more information. Palestinian human rights organizations are denouncing physical and psychological abuse against minors detained in Israeli prisons. The Commission on Detainees and Former Detainees, the Palestinian Prisoners Society, the Human Rights and Prisoners Support Association are reporting that more than 1,630 people have been arrested in the occupied West Bank since October of 2023. In this sense, they asserted that at least 350 children remain in Israeli prisons, while more than 90 are in administrative detention without charges. According to the groups, minors are facing torture, starvation, medical crimes, systematic looting, and deprivation, being treated as an alleged security threat. And we go now to other topics. Human rights organizations have recently reported several irregularities in Nestle products intended for consumers. A report shared by local Swiss media outlines the various problems, which mainly concern the excessive use of sugar in products for babies and children. The document mentions that one of its cereals, Cerelac, contains more than 90% of sugar in its version for customers of the African continent, whereas in other regions, such as countries like Germany or the United Kingdom, it contains no sugar at all. In response, Nestlé denied the accusations and assured that all products exported to Africa are fortified to combat malnutrition. And the approval rating of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has plummeted to 25% as the Mindich scandal rocks the country. Polls indicated that Zelensky's unpopularity increased after the revelation of corruption cases involving his former business partner and his closest advisors. According to the documents, the plan was to extort $100 million from the country's energy sector. A survey conducted in October indicated that only 1 in 4 Ukrainians supported Zelensky's administration, which means he has lost more than 40% of his support. The Mindich scandal, named after the entrepreneur and former television producer Timur Mindich, suspected of forming a criminal organization to exert illicit pressure on government members and obtain funds through corruption. But now let's take a look at who the Ukrainian businessman Timur Mindich is, who is under investigation for the recent corruption scandals. Mindich was co-owner of Zelensky's production company, Kvartal 95, named after the comedy group that helped catapult the Ukrainian president to fame as a comedian. In addition, Timur Mindich is a relative of Leonid Mindich, who was arrested by Ukraine's anti-corruption authorities in June of this year while attempting to flee the country. The businessman was a business partner of Ukrainian oligarch Igor Kolomsky, who backed Zelensky's presidential campaign. In Mexico City, a group of friends inaugurated the exhibition Four Revolutions of Mexico and Cuba at the Beginnegas Arroyo Printing House. During the opening of the cultural event, the rector of the Autonomous University of Mexico City, Juan Carlos Aguilar, highlighted that the exhibition contains personal objects belonging to prominent Cuban revolutionaries that participated in the Cuban Revolution, such as Ernesto Che Guevara, and original documents corrected by Commander Fidel Castro. The exhibition, which has about 250 pieces, is organized as a hand-to-hand between the freestyle and social struggle and is part of the program of activities commemorating the centennial birthday of the Cuban leader Fidel Castro Ruz, which will be celebrated in the year 2026. The presentation will run until February 15th of 2026 at the Baldi Cultural Center in Mexico City. And in Colombia, the 42nd edition of the Bogota Film Festival kicked off an event that reaffirms its commitment to independent film and new voices in Latin America cinema. With 2,350 films submitted from 77 countries, this edition confirms the festival's consolidation as one of the essential platforms for independent cinema in Latin America. The event will feature 96 films addressing themes of resistance, memory, and identity, as well as activities, talks, workshops, and tributes, along with panels on cinema and technology. The event, which will run until November 26, will feature the line "Bogota is New Cinema" to promote emerging talent and provide free spaces for students and film lovers, democratizing access to art house cinema. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.